他认识你，你不认识。
From the Symphony Orchestra. Nice to see you. Wonderful. Great.
And she helped all in and Polish. What you did last time? Well, what was the last time they used to have lunch?
That's funny, when you have lunch.
Lunch.
The truck stopped so far, they commandeered by the US Army.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is I'm the chair of the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today and to introduce an outstanding group of speakers for us. I am going to do something which I know I'm going to be sorry that I'm trying, but please excuse me, and especially excuse my accent. But I wanted to say, Dor Jai, go away, Loi Lam. And it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Helen Kircher, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Downtown Porsche and the Downtown Fine Cars Group. Thank him so much for giving us the opportunity to be speaking with you today about some very special events we're so proud of at the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. Helen?
Well, welcome everybody. It's given me a great pleasure as one of the sponsors of Toronto Symphony event, featured Hong chaired by Christine, Alan, Ratty, and Ronso, to impress this year at Downtown Porsche. And this is my best wishes and a lot of success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Kircher. He's not available today to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Ron So. I guess most of you know me, and I'm the co-chair of this coming event, and my co-chair, Christine Elliott. First of all, I'm going to put on my glasses to get old age so I can see better. Today, we get together for one very important reason. Now, in the past many years, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra have done a lot of great job to outreach to the Asian community, including the Chinese community. They even included website and Chinese brochures and Cantonese and Mandarin servers and so on. However, as a volunteer, as a fundraising partner in this case, I wish they could do more, and at the same time I wish the Asian community, Chinese community to understand more who is Toronto Symphony Orchestra and what do they do. Of course, Toronto Symphony Orchestra is the best orchestra in Ontario, Canada,
And the world.
and the world. We are better than Montreal with the leadership. Now, I don't want to take too much time, everybody. I want to take this opportunity also to let everybody know. One of the main reasons I participate is helping the outreach, the TSO to outreach the Chinese community. And hopefully we can get more musicians and artists, great artists from Asia as a whole to come to Canada to show their talent. And at the same time, in return, I also wish the Toronto Symphony can have more visits to Asia, different countries. That's why we also have to support very strongly from the both Canadian and Chinese government. I'd like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank all our sponsors, our major sponsors, AIM Trimark, Tipper Richardson, Downtown Porsche, of course, and also we have some special sponsor also. We have the 2 years holiday, Therapy Dog Elliot McCarthy, and Creative Art Class. Now, also we have some special, you see the little silver bag there, which that is what we're going to give around at the event night. And we have a group of people, a group of sponsors. We'd like to thank them also, including William Ashley, Browns Canada, represented by Stuart here. Also, Creative Art Class, we did the conference, and you can see the crystal we're going to give out that night. Also, we have a floral sponsor, Millie's Flower, to help us with the decoration, and a lot of silent auction partners, which I'm not going to name right now. Special thanks to the TSO staff and management team for their support to make this possible, especially Mary and Marianne, Amy. The work is so hard for us. Without them, it is not possible for us. Now, I would like to pass on to my partner, Christine, to review a little bit more about the event coming up and our ticket selling situation.
Thank you very much, Ron. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. We're delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon about some of the wonderful things that are going on at the Toronto Symphony, and specifically about our East Meets West Gala. As you know, the gala is being held on Saturday, October 1st. It's being held at Roy Thomson Hall. And I'm very pleased to tell you at this point we are completely sold out. So we're very, very happy about that. And we have many people to thank for that, including, I'd also like to say, our hardworking committee members, many of whom are here with us today. Thank you very much for all of your hard work. And I'd also like to reiterate our thanks to our corporate sponsors, and especially to Downtown Porsche, to Helen Kirscher, Chin Kirscher, and Dr. Peter Kirscher for not only supporting the gala, but also for hosting today's event. So thank you very much. We're also very pleased to have as our honorary patrons Premier Dalton McGuinty and His Excellency Liu Shimin, who is the ambassador to Canada from China. So we're very grateful that they're going to be able to join us. This event is going to be really special. First of all, because it's a unique collaboration between the Toronto Symphony Orchestra and the Asian community, about which Ron has spoken briefly, but it's also going to be a spectacular musical evening. As you know, our featured soloist for the evening is the acclaimed international pianist Long Long, who's going to be playing with our own wonderful Toronto Symphony Orchestra under the direction of our equally wonderful maestro, Peter Ungen. So we're very much looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be really a wonderful evening for all who not only attend the gala, but who attend the concert. So I hope that many of you will be able to join us, and we're really looking forward to it.
I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank the organizing committee, Harriet, who's here, Harriet, Ben, Ben, and Stuart, Julie, Amy. So I'd like to introduce Peter and say a few words and maybe tell us a little bit more about the TSO, what is our plan, and what are we going to do the coming year to outreach to the Asian community. Peter.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I'd like to start by telling you how I came across Lang Lang. When he was 14, he was already in the United States studying at the Curtis Institute in Philadelphia. And the president of that organization was at a concert, and I ran into him, and I had heard a little bit about Lang Lang. So I said, so tell me, is it true that this guy is so extraordinary at the age of 14? And Gary Grafflin is his name, a great pianist in his own right. And he looked at me and he said, well, he's 14 years old, and he plays 45 concerti from memory. And a year later, I was asked to co-conduct the Houston Symphony with soloist Lang, now an ancient 50. And he played the Liszt concerto, and it was so sparkling and spectacular that I just couldn't believe it. And that's now maybe 6 or 7 years ago. He's in his very early 20s now, and really has become an extraordinary superstar in his own right. he is a great, great musician, but beyond that, he has the kind of spectacular gift and charisma that engages audiences from the moment he walks on the stage. And it's an uncanny kind of virtuosity. The piano is a difficult instrument, we all know that. The whole coordination issue of what the individual 10 fingers have to do is really compelling to watch. But with his hands connecting with the keyboard, I assure everybody that it's absolutely memorable every single time. I've had long connections myself with the Asian community. I remember so well as a child realizing that my father would disappear for 3 weeks. My father was actually, like a good Armenian, an Oriental carpet dealer and expert. And he used to go to China for 3 weeks, at least once a year. And he had many close friends in China. And it was just an ongoing thing, which I accepted, and then we would occasionally meet various members of the Chinese community in England. And then, of course, in my own career, I had strong connections with the Far East because I joined the Tokyo String Quartet when I was 25. So I was playing with 3 wonderful Japanese musicians. And I was telling you the story earlier, which is kind of a cute one, that the first concert I ever played in New York City, there was an elderly couple sitting in the front row, and when we got to the end of the first movement, remember this is my first time in the Tokyo Quartet, and they've been playing for 11 years, but the lady whispered to her husband incredibly loudly, "Look, honey, the first violinist isn't Chinese," which was kind of news to everyone, but we never forgot that. We just had to giggle our way through the rest of the piece because it was such a funny observation to make. But anyhow, we went to the Far East many, many times. Unfortunately, never to China. I myself have not been to China. But I don't know whether anyone has pointed out that the Toronto Symphony Orchestra was the first orchestra from the West to tour China after the end of the Cultural Revolution in the late 70s. So the connection has been very, very strong for many, many years. And of course, we live in an extraordinarily diverse community here in Toronto. It's really exceptional in the world. But it has a very, very large and strong Chinese community. I don't know how many Chinatowns we count now. People tell me there are 5 Chinatowns. I'm happy enough with 1. Since I have been involved with the orchestra as music director, I have hired, I think, 4 players, and I'm glad to say that half of them are Chinese. 2 of them are wonderful principal violists who will be featured twice during this coming season as a soloist. Tang Li, I hired her when she was only 21. Oddly enough, she had been at the same school as Lama. They were contemporaries at Curtis. And then the other person that I hired is Jin Shan Dai, who in fact studied with me at Yale, coincidentally, because we don't know who's playing when they're auditioning. It's behind the screen until the last round at least. So we have 2 wonderful new Chinese members of the orchestra. We also have a large number of Asian soloists all the time. You probably are all somewhat aware that if you go to a conservatory almost anywhere in the world today as compared with 25 years ago, the percentage of Asians is incredibly high. They now say that the second language at the Juilliard School of New York is in fact English. And it's probably true. And this is an extraordinary thing. It speaks, I think, to the complete commitment that the Asian community in general, and particularly the Chinese, give to what the Chinese and the Koreans really, and the Japanese, give to what they want their children to do and what they want their children to understand about Western culture. And they are so committed to it. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm very hopeful that we will engage more and more continually with the Chinese community here in Toronto. It's kind of an obvious thing to do because there's tremendous passion for music within that community. Our youth orchestra, by the way, is half Asian. Half Asian. The the coach said to me, it's half Asian, but it should be 90%. So well, that was quite an and it probably will be if we're not careful one day. So I think what we should be focusing on really is increasing the connections, letting us know that music is the language of the world. It is absolutely universal. It has nothing to do with your origins. And that we also can begin to look at a situation which is going to develop where it's in fact the Asian community that's going to inspire the Western community, if I may refer to it in that way, to continue to have an interest in music. Because what concerns me, obviously, looking at the numbers and the way things are going, is that the Asian community has this extraordinary commitment, and maybe there's less involvement a little bit from the Western community. So I think we need a tremendously strong interchange of ideas as we all follow our particular passions for this great language of music. I'm delighted that the concert sold out. There are many, many concerts this year that are going to be extremely well attended for the TSO. I think this shows a general understanding that music is an important nourishment. To have a really fulfilling community and society, we need these balances. And this is a great city that understands the importance of promoting these different cultures. And I am very, very delighted that I am now a new second home resident of Toronto as of 2 weeks ago. So it's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Andrew's not here. Is there any questions, ladies and gentlemen, any of us, regarding TSO, regarding the concert? Now, I have one question, Peter. Maybe you can tell me. In the past many years in the Chinese community, especially people from Hong Kong, I would say 70–80% of the children, they learn music, any kind of instrument and so on. Not necessarily all good, but somehow some are good ones. Maybe we can take this opportunity to let them know what to do next. How can we get one step ahead, and how can we get to TSO, or what instruction, what direction we can
You mean for the young musicians?
the young musicians, so what to take the next step.
Right. Well, the next thing, if you're young and you love music, the next thing you do, of course, is buy a Porsche.
Second first goal. I agree.
And after that, I really don't know. But you know, attending concerts, whether it's the family concerts if they're very young, or they'll go to schools concerts. I don't know how many. We play for way over 100,000 school children each year. Attending the live event is very exciting, and it's, in this age of fantastic technology, it's very easy for people to hear lots of music without going to live events. And it's one of the great things about having a community like this, where it's relatively easy to get around and rather safe if parents are not afraid of sending their out into the streets to go to a concert or a movie or whatever by themselves. I think being involved in the live experience is really a key to finding that particular passion for music. And that sounds like I'm just trying to get more people to come to the TSO when it's part of it, but we're certainly not the only possible experience. You know, to go and hear chamber music and see people interacting and understand just how powerful the language of music is. Because it creates an experience when you're there live that is much more significant than the one that you hear on your CD player, because you actually witness the emotions being shared by the players and being shared then again by the audience as they listen and witness the kind of dramatic journey that a concert takes. And we all, I mean, especially the young generation, the idea that they would go and hear, for example, the Rolling Stones is so exciting, but we know that they can hear them just as well at home, but to see Mick Jagger and to feel that energy is something that many, many people are really, really curious about. And to some degree, it's the same thing with the classical music experience. And when you get home after hearing a concert like that, you have a very different approach to your connection between what you're doing mechanically on the instrument which everybody has to train to do, and what you're actually trying to say through the instrument, which is ultimately what's important.
Thank you. I noticed one thing you mentioned, age is not the issue here. You have to be good.
Can you tell us more about what's TSO?
Well, the Toronto Symphony is over 80 years old. It's the orchestra of the city of Toronto. It's one of the truly great orchestras of the world. Had some wonderful music directors before me, including Seiji Ozawa in the 70s. He was with us, or late 60s. And we play at Roy Thompson Hall. We play 107 concerts every season, and a lot of concerts for young school children as well, and family concerts. We have wonderful guests coming to play with us, Yo-Yo Ma, Lang Lang coming on October 1st, and it's just one of those great aspects of Toronto that, rather like the museums or the opera, that we all value.
Is TSO the largest symphony orchestra in Canada?
Yes, actually we're the largest arts organization in Canada.
So you say you perform in Toronto, does TSO go overseas to perform?
The TSO has traditionally gone overseas every couple of years to perform to Europe and to Asia and to the United States. But in recent years, not as much. There's been less government support in recent years, so there's a gradual change in culture to get more corporate and private support so that we can continue to have a presence internationally of this great orchestra.
So do you know how many audience for each season?
Oh, well, we have on average, our hall seats 2,500. We have on average over 2,000 people at each concert. So it's way over 200,000 people attending concerts each year.
Is the trend upward?
Very much upward. Very much in the last 2 years, yeah.
So how many members in the TSO?
There are about 90 members of the TSO.
What about the nationality?
Nationality? Well, it's very mixed. I mean, many of them may be Canadian, some of them from the US, some European or South American even, but many Russians who have come over the years, and a large number of Asians, Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, quite a few.
So how many Asians? Do you have a number?
Well, if I counted, I would tell you exactly. I would say it's at least 10 to 15, something like that.
So how long have you joined TSO?
How long have I became the music director of TSO in 1 year ago exactly, in September of 2004.
So then what kind of improvement and what do you see in the past 1 year in TSO?
Well, a lot of great positive energy, really good audience building, very good feeling of communication in the hall. People seem to enjoy performing and enjoy listening very much. I've guested here. I've guested here in previous years, and sometimes the feeling was a little bit passive, and I think everything is much more active nowadays. We've also had a renovation of Roy Thompson Hall, which has been tremendously helpful because the sound there is fantastic now, and the atmosphere is wonderful for the audience and the players.
Besides this like normal season launch, any major grand event for TSO? 1 or 2 years?
We are. Every few months we celebrate something different. You know, we're celebrating Mozart's 250th birthday this January, and we have a New Creations Festival in the spring, at the end of March, beginning of April, where we do all kinds of new pieces, including a piece by a Chinese composer called Chen Yi. So there's always a lot of different things being celebrated.
So being the head of TSO, any obstacle, any difficulties running TSO?
Well, it's a great joy. It's a huge responsibility, of course. You have to make sure that you program in a way that sparks people's imagination. You want people to come as frequently as possible, so you want varied programs that make sense to people. And you know, the great thing that all symphony orchestras across the world now need to do much more of is the same as sports. We need to find sponsorships all the time, and we have many wonderful sponsors around, but it's a constant process. You always need to expand your family of sponsors, and so that's a challenge.
Do you see the TSO is getting more close to the community?
Definitely much closer to the community. There's a very good feeling, and you feel it in the players too, that they feel that they belong more to the community, that the audience cares more about them nowadays, and I think that's a very positive thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Juan 啊，今次可唔可以講下你嘅 role 啊 ？TSO 呢次
係今次咧，其實就好幸運啦，得到大家一齊幫手。咁咧我就係幫呢個 Toronto Symphony 啦，即係多倫多交響樂團咧，做一個首次一個 fundraising。咁咧係呢個 fundraising 咧係佢哋希望咧就有多啲機會接觸我哋嘅華人啊，同埋東亞，即係我哋亞洲嘅人咁樣。咁其實佢哋過去咧已經做咗好多呢啲告白啊，成就係，但係咧佢哋多數 promote 佢哋嗰啲 event 啊，嗰啲表演啊咁樣。但係今次咧嘅好重要性咧就係我哋係嗰方面嚟講咧係希望咧佢哋 TSO 能夠多啲明白我哋華人。我哋頭先係講過少少咧，係我哋華人好多子弟啊，好叻咁樣已經音樂方面嘅發展啦。咁之後點樣咧咁樣？咁我哋就好希望即係喺主流方面能夠俾咗呢啲我哋優秀嘅青年嚟發展啦。咁一方面就係所以我哋今次幫佢籌款咧，係俾佢哋一個明白，大家有個溝通，了解我哋華人嘅造作，佢哋嘅造作。咁咧今次咧係我哋用咗阿朗樂呢個表演咧。係嚟到做我哋一個主題，當然佢係好出名，但係希望亦都就咁嘅機會咧，令到 TSO 將來咧再請啲中國嘅音樂家過嚟啊，咁大家有一個高質素嘅文化交流。咁今次咧其實已經sold out咗㗎啦，嗰啲ticket已經賣晒。咁我哋其實希望都籌到10萬咁樣啦。咁應該係第一次變咗咧，就比較大家咧都有好多地方係即係未曾達到好理想嘅時間咁緊促啦。咁我哋合作咧係非常之滿意，非常之高興。咁就由於即係一方面係暑假嘅期間啦，又有可能揾到啲人啊咁，但係我哋跟住咧係完全都售票已經全係100% 賣咗，所以我哋好多謝咧各位。希望下一次咧我哋有機會咧就再大家早啲話俾大家聽，咁佢哋再做一個好好嘅交流。
You're the co-chair for this event. Can you tell me more about this event?
Oh, I think the event is going to be really wonderful. It's a gala event. It's one of the major fundraisers for the Toronto Symphony. And it's going to involve a dinner cocktail reception before the event. And of course the concert featuring Long Long is going to be held. And then we're going to have a post-concert reception. So we're also expecting a number of special guests. Premier Dalton McGuinty is going to be attending. The Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Mr. Bartlesman, is also joining us. And of course His Excellency Liu Shimin is also going to be there.
So did you have any involvement of the TSO before?
Yes, I've actually been a volunteer on the board of directors with the Toronto Symphony for about 40 years now. So I've been involved in a number of special events, and I'm also involved with the governance of the orchestra on an ongoing basis.
It seems that TSO want to outreach to different community. You see how important is this kind of activity or
the concert, the outreach,
like fundraising or also outreaching to different community, like building the bridge between the TSO and the community?
Well, first of all, it is an important fundraising activity. I think secondly, what is really important to the symphony is to reach out to the Asian community and build long-term relationships for our mutual benefit, because so many of our supporters are from the Asian community. It seems to be a natural fit between the symphony and the Asian community for us to work together, as Maestro Unjin had said, that it's a natural collaboration.
So you're doing fundraising for TSO. So basically, we know that the TSO gets some government funding. Do you have insufficient funding? That's why you need fundraising?
Well, I think with any arts organization, there is some government funding, but it doesn't cover all of our programs and expenses. So there is a large fundraising component to the work that we do as volunteer directors. And that comes in through ticket revenue and also special events such as the gala that we're having this evening on October 1st.
So you say you have been volunteer for TSO for 4 years. What kind of achievement or satisfaction you get from volunteering in TSO? What kind of satisfaction or achievement? Helping TSO?
Well, for me it's very interesting to be involved with an organization like the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, to understand how things work sort of behind the scenes, and to be involved with such a wonderful organization generally is very satisfying personally, and also to feel that you're helping out the community, because I think the symphony is so important to a community like Toronto, which is very multicultural, very interested in music and the arts, and I think the TSO is one of the most important partners in that whole venture.
So you are the TSO supporter and you like classical music?
Yes, I'm a big fan of classical music. I have been since I was a child, so for me to be involved in an organization like the TSO is really wonderful. I attend many of the concerts, and I'm a big fan of classical music.
So how do you encourage people to get more involved in TSO or youngsters to get support?
Well, I think just for a lot of people, I think they don't really know too much about the TSO, and that's one of the things that we're hoping to do through the education programs with youth, and also through the collaboration, for example, with the Asian community that we're commencing. I think that it's really important to come to concerts, to expose young people particularly to classical music, because in our experience, it's always a very, very favorable impression, and they're very anxious to return, so we hope they'll come back and bring their parents.